Lisa, what's up? Yeah, thank you. Leo Sinchano. My name is Les Hutchinson Campos. I'm Chicanx with Yoeme descendancy. I was born and raised in the territories of the Serrano, Southern Paiute, and Mojave. My ancestors traveled to those lands from England, Germany, Italy, and were also displaced due to native removals throughout what is currently referred to as Texas and Mexico. I have engaged in community organizing in Kumeyaay land, as well as in Nequajon, where the rivers meet, land of the Anishinaabe, Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples. It's my family. I share space with you all today in gratitude for the Shoshone Bannock tribes, the Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai, and Nez Perce, Nimi Poo, but especially the Boise Valley people, all of who continue to care for the land in Idaho and have taught me what it means to be in community here. I'm speaking in my personal and my professional capacity as the digital communications specialist of the ACLU of Idaho. Thank you. They're a really good org. I'm kind of happy. As we come together today, I want to remind you all that the land we are on is stolen. Stolen. The Supreme Court's decisions on anything are null and void if we realize that no decision about our bodies should be made without acknowledgement of sovereignty for all Indigenous peoples, and especially the Indigenous peoples of this land, first and foremost. Hate to break it to y'all, or not. That said, here are some ground rules today. There are counter-protesters here. Some of you may have seen them. Some of you are probably looking at me. Hi, I already know. I'm on your list. It's fine. For safety reasons, you don't have to engage with them. Treat it online. We don't talk to trolls. Who cares? Waste your own time. If you have a mask, please consider wearing it. Y'all, COVID is not gone, and we got monkeypox too. Take care of yourselves, but take care of others. That's why we're all here, right? All right, I'm gonna introduce our first speaker. There she is, she's here too. Hey, Lisa. Our first speaker is Lisa Sanchez, a well-known activist and public figure in Boise. Lisa's been an activist since she was 18 years old. Hell yeah. And was a first-generation student at Boise State. She was the first Latina to serve as ASBSU Vice President, first Latina to serve on the Boise City Council, that's damn shame, and the first woman of color to serve as President Pro Tem of the Council in 2021. She has worked directly with low-income members of the community to help them access free legal services, to escape domestic violence, and to protect children from neglect and abuse. Thank you for being here, Lisa. Let's give her a welcome, y'all!
Oh, you guys are a beautiful sight. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. You know, ever since this news was leaked to us, God bless that person, whoever did the work of the people and leaked that information so we would know. Okay. And, okay, I will try. I've been thinking a lot about how I came to be pro-choice, because being of Mexican descent, being raised Catholic in Burley, Idaho, there's some unlearning that has to happen. And I am so grateful for the people who were patient with me and helped to deprogram me from being pro-life. That person was a woman by the name of Jen Ray. Back in the day, there used to be an organization called the Idaho Women's Network. And what was really beautiful about that organization was it brought all sorts of women together. Women who were pro-choice and women who were yet to become pro-choice. And so this coalition brought us all together, and what the pro-choice organizations asked of the organizations that were not quite yet decided about that issue, they asked for us to remain neutral. And we did, because we realized we needed to be together as women. There were many issues that we needed to work on, and we couldn't have abortion be something that divided us. And so one day, I decided to staff the Idaho Women's Network booth at the Idaho Fair. And it was with Jen. And so Jen took a moment and she said, "So Lisa, can I ask you a few questions?" I said, "Sure. Why are you pro-life?" And I said, "Well, you know, I have a very strong commitment to diversity, to civil rights, and a big part of that I owe to Martin Luther King Jr. And I guess I just think about, what if somebody were to end a pregnancy and that is the next Martin Luther King Jr. or the next Rosa Parks?" And then Jen said something to me. She said, "Lisa, what if women had all the resources they needed so that they could provide enough food and shelter and clothing and education for the children that they have, so that every child has the potential to be Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks?" And as we know, in this state, we don't do that for our kids. We don't provide them enough food. We don't provide them the kind of education that they need. We're dead last in so many lists that really disprove our claims in this state that we care about families. The money is not there. That would be one way to show that we love our kids and our families. But, you know, we'd rather have it in this surplus, banked away, our tax dollars taken from us and not being used responsibly. I knew when I was 9 years old that I would not have children. And the reason I knew I would not have children is because when I was 9, I spent my summer potty training my 2-year-old little brother. And I had to do that because my mother was working 100 hours a week. So as a 9-year-old, I was doing the work of an adult. And I realized in that moment, why would I grow up to have a child if I need to have two? One to help me take care of the other. A 9-year-old should not be thinking about existential questions like that. I should have been out having fun and playing. And that was a long time ago. That was the recession I remember having a direct effect on my life. The other thing that Jen asked me about in that conversation, that very patient conversation, she said, "Lisa, has there ever been a time where you have had somebody make decisions about your body that you felt small?" And I said, "Absolutely. Between the ages of 4 and 9, I was sexually assaulted by 3 members of my immediate and extended family." And she said, "What if the law made it so that a doctor would have a right to say to you, you have to have this baby?" And all of a sudden I was triggered. I remembered that feeling of being a little girl and not having any say over what adults did to my body. And that's what we're contending with now. We're contending with women, people being forced to do what other people want them to do with their bodies. And we're not going to stand for it. Now, I know that I don't exactly have a record for being the most subtle, but like I said, having this memory of Jen being so patient and finding out why I took the stand that I took, and very gently and very logically explaining to me why she chose her stand. That's how I became pro-choice. That's what we all need to do. Because right now, we need all women. We need all people to come together. And if you have this skill, be patient. Talk gently to people. Find out why they take the stand that they do. Because I'm telling you, in those conversations is the key. I'm so grateful. Wherever Jen Ray is today, thank you, Jen. Thank you for helping me see the light. And to all of those folks out there who are not yet pro-choice, we're waiting for you, but the clock is ticking. Hurry up!
Thank you so much, Lisa, for all your advocacy, your work, your tireless work. I see you in community. You're always in community. Thank you. All right, next we're going to hear from Deanna Messenger, our next speaker, who is a longtime member of the congregation Ahavath. Okay, she's got it. She's a proud Jewish feminist and has been in the Boise community for over 40 years. Professionally, Deanna is a social worker who works with vulnerable folks. Let's give it up for Deanna.
So I was asked to speak here about an hour and a half ago, so I have no real prepared remarks, but I'm both really, really heartened and really, really sad to be here. So about 30 years ago, we did this before. We came perilously close in Idaho to having the most restrictive abortion bill in the country. And this was under Governor Andrus, and many of us were at the State House for every night for weeks protesting. In fact, there's a law now that you can't burn candles at the State House, and we're the reason, because we were there with our candles and they passed a law saying no. So that bill was HB 625, and at that time it was the most restrictive abortion ban in the country, and Governor Cecil Andrus vetoed that bill. It passed the House, it passed the Senate, and he vetoed it. So it's been a long time since we've had somebody like Cecil Andrus. Yeah, miss him. And I remember Jen Ray and Mary Rolfing, other teachers. We've had a lot of teachers in this community. Lee Flynn, who was the director of the Idaho Women's Network. My mother, so I'm a proud member of Congregation Ahavath Beth Israel. So I'm a Jewish feminist, come from a long line of Jewish feminists. My mother, So my mother had an illegal abortion before I was born. After I was born, my mother had an illegal abortion after I was born, before 1973. So I have lived my life never knowing what it's like to have this restriction. But I have two children, both of childbearing age. One who's pregnant, and I'm also a grandmother. And I am so incredibly sad for people who have lost this right. I never had to contend with this during my childbearing age. So I'm so sad, and I'm so sorry that we didn't do better. And it's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. So it's not enough. My mother had to go to Mexico. Her best friend drove her to Mexico, and I was little, I didn't know, but I was told later that she developed an infection and became perilously close to, not being my mother anymore. And this is what we're talking about. Abortion won't go away, just safe abortion. So abortions, yeah, right. Women have been demanding rights and taking charge of their bodies since we've been, people. Right, alive, right, exactly. So we're not going to stop. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean women. People have been demanding that. People who give birth. So we're not going to stop. We're not going away. Hopefully my grandchildren won't have to deal with this, but I'm sorry that they do. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the Jewish perspective. And I'm no rabbi, so so this is from reading from various different sources. The women rabbis, my own rabbi here, Rabbi Dan Fink, he's fabulous, of Congregational Havas Beth Israel. But here's the deal. So we are a very, very small minority, Jews, in this country and obviously in this community. And so we're used to being sort of, not having our views represented, especially here in Idaho. But we believe in something called religious freedom. Well, I thought we did anyway. And the Jewish perspective on personhood is that the Jewish word for soul is neshama, which means breath. So babies aren't people until they're born. So Jews don't believe that babies are people at conception. They believe that the Creator breathes their soul into them at birth. And until that time, they are part of the parent that carries them. So thank you, Lisa, for talking about being Catholic, because we are being run by a Catholic caliphate, which is not to say that all Catholics... Yeah, okay. So, like Catholics and Christians, we Jews are not a monolith. We come in every political persuasion, from very, very liberal to very, very conservative. But according to Jewish tradition, living people take precedence over non-living people. And from the Jewish perspective, so in my tradition, once again, while babies grow inside their parent, they are not fully people until they take their first breath and receive the neshama from their Creator. So that's the perspective of my tradition. Let's see. So the last thing I want to say, the last penultimate thing I want to say is, in our tradition, we also have we have what's called tikkun olam, which means to repair the world. So we know in our tradition that we won't get there all at once. We know we aren't going to be perfect, but in our tradition, we are not excused from trying. So this is my voice trying to create, a better world, and tikkun olam, to repair the world. And really, what I want to say is, Lisa said gently, speak to people, help them understand gently. Young people, convince your friends to get out and vote. Voting fucking matters. So this is not the end. Losing our right to choose is not the end. It's the beginning. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid, and organize and get busy. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Deanna. You know what? With all the rising fascism, not just in this country, but in countries all over, we really, really need to listen to our Jewish relatives. Their history is important. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know who's yelling at me, but I just want you to know we're all better when we hear each other all at the same time. Just saying. All right, next up. Dr. Dwayne St. Clair is a board-certified OBGYN who retired after practicing in Boise for 30 years. Sup, Dwayne? He has delivered thousands of babies and also is a skilled surgeon. He has been a lifelong advocate for reproductive rights and decided early in his practice that people facing the prospect of carrying an unplanned pregnancy to term needed a doctor with his training to provide a place where they would receive competent and non-judgmental counseling and care. Dwayne, can you come up here and talk with us? Legend.
I'm embarrassed to talk after these women. I am not a professional speaker. But I would like to give you somewhat a history of the abortion issue in Idaho, at least in the medical profession. Yesterday,
Let me adjust this for you. Give us a second, y'all. And I'm the tech person. That's
can you hear me now? Yes. Yesterday, what a dark day for the women of our country. I doubt that any of us was naive enough to think that the battle over abortion rights was actually over. Wire coat hangers, catheters, ingesting poison, intentionally falling down stairs. There are fewer of us who remember those days when women felt compelled to use such extreme measures to accomplish what they felt was the best solution for themselves and their families. In our country, before Roe versus Wade, several hundred women died every year from complications of attempts to end an unwanted pregnancy. That number doesn't even include the suicides. In 1966, when I was in my early medical training at the LA County Hospital, I cared for women with life-threatening medical conditions resulting from illegal and self-induced abortions. Some were too late. Tragically, some died from uncontrollable hemorrhage and infection. It was eye-opening and heartbreaking to see that women were willing to take the chance of death rather than carry an unwanted pregnancy to term. That is an experience that no one will ever forget. 1963, Roe v. Wade. What a momentous decision for women. Shortly after that decision, the OBGYN specialists in Boise were asked in a hospital meeting to declare which of them would be willing to see a patient seeking an abortion. Of the 15 physicians there, 8 of them said they would provide that care. I was the youngest OB/GYN practitioner and the only one in solo practice. Because other doctors would provide that care, I said I would not be including abortion in my practice, even though I completely supported, both morally and ethically, a woman's right to choose. I questioned whether society would ever understand physicians who did abortions. I also had a concern that my young children, ages 5, 6, and 9, might have difficulty understanding the complexity of the abortion issue. Only 3 months later, there was not one physician in Idaho who would see a patient requesting an abortion. This was because patients expressed disapproval that their doctors were providing that care. At that time, I realized that even though abortion was available in other states, and that there would be many women unable to afford the time or resources to travel, and that care in a large abortion clinic would be very impersonal. So I decided I would include abortion in my women's health care practice. That decision, unfortunately, included a great deal of hate mail, picketing of my office, and even the realization that I might be killed by a crazed right-wing zealot. I knew I had made the right decision, and I also realized how determined and malicious the anti-abortion activists could be. Because I felt so strongly about women's right to choose, I also was determined. No amount of harassment would stop me from providing the safe and competent and legal care that women deserved. Roe v. Wade saved women's lives, and it also preserved their dignity. In 2022, because of advances in patient care, safe and competent medical care needed by women with unwanted pregnancies will fortunately be easier to access than before Roe. It will be obtainable by those who have the skills and resources to navigate all the obstacles that are being proposed. I'm sure we all know it is the less resourced women who will continue to need our unwavering support. We cannot allow the Supreme Court to dictate what women choose to do with their bodies. Women have proven that they are the ones who are most capable of making appropriate medical decisions for themselves and their families. It is our task to ensure that all women have the funds, transportation, and support to access all their health care needs, including abortions. I am the proud grandfather of 4 beautiful young women and also a beautiful daughter. They deserve to make their own decisions regarding their bodies. And I am determined to continue advocating for their right to do so. Thank you.
I don't know about y'all, but I got goosebumps. The man is a legend. We need way more men like you, Dr. Dwayne St. Clair. Yeah, hugs. Hugs for Dr. Dwayne, y'all. Got a lot of feelings. All right. Next up is Bessie, the founder of the Idaho Abortion Rights. Bessie is an intersectional social justice activist and has served in the United States Army. Also co-organized this entire event, so don't be humble. All right, Bessie, it's you.
Hey, Boise. I am not a public speaker, but I'm going to be one tonight. My name is Bessie. I'm a mother of 3. I'm a partner. And for the protesters in the back, the counter-protesters, I am a disabled veteran. I started Idaho Abortion Rights the day Governor Brad Little knowingly signed an unconstitutional bill into law. SB 1309. This bill incentivizes rape for a monetary prize. In both SB 1309 and SB 1358 allows civil lawsuits to be filed against medical professionals who perform abortions after a fetal heart activity is detected. I love it. When I started Idaho Abortion Rights, I wanted to create an intersectional community and space where all people, including BIPOC and the queer community, could collectively respond to these government attacks on our bodies. As a white cisgender female, I needed to acknowledge my privilege in this space and offer support to those disproportionately impacted by abortion bans. Everybody needs to know their privilege in this space. I am a fellow community member. One day I decided I wanted to make a change and be part of the solution. I hope today plants a seed in each of your minds that you too can stand up and create change and bring your community together. 10 years ago, I volunteered in a crisis pregnancy center. I deemed myself a Christian and thought it was my religious duty to save people from abortions. I thought abortion was murder. That wasn't until I survived 2 crisis pregnancies and domestic violence and experienced multiple rapes and learned firsthand why abortion is so important. It wasn't until I lived it in real time that I understood the real-life repercussions of trauma and the absolute need for abortion care. A little bit more about Idaho Abortion Rights. We are an abortion mutual aid, which means that donations given to us go to fund abortions in legal states. That is what we exist to do. And we will be getting people access to abortions in legal states and funding them to do so. And we will be depending our community to do that. Please donate to IdahoAbortionRights.com, Planned Parenthood, and the Northwest Abortion Access. I never imagined this organization would grow to this magnitude or that we would have to be here in this very real reality where we would even need to do what some would call an underground network for abortion access. We know this is a very scary time in the history of this country. This isn't what I signed up for in the military, and this isn't the country I recognize that is about freedom and liberty. We've got some hard days ahead. I'm so proud of all of you for standing up for abortion access and pushing back against Idaho's legislators and the Supreme Court. I truly believe today will go down in Idaho's history as the single most monumental day ever, where the citizens of Idaho banded together and told our local and federal government that we won't go back.
Bessie, thank you so much. And in the words of Lizzo, bye, bitch! Next up is the co-founder of Idaho Abortion Rights, Kimra Luna. Kimra is a lifelong activist. Their brothers call them Lisa Simpson. You get it. Growing up, they are part of the LGBTQIA community, me too, non-binary fam. Born and raised in Nampa, Idaho, my personal favorite city in this state. Let's hear from Kimra!
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm Kimra Luna. I am the co-founder of Idaho Abortion Rights. My pronouns are they, them. And like they said, I was born in Nampa, Idaho, so So 2C, represent. Anybody here from Nampa? What? All right, so I was raised going to church, and at church, they led me to believe that abortions were murder. Boo! Yes. Once I became pregnant with my first pregnancy when I was 18, my beliefs changed. I went to one of those fake religious clinics in Nampa, and they tried to convince me to keep the baby. I left crying because I knew I was not ready to have a baby. I hadn't even had a job yet. Back then, we didn't have the internet like we do now, and I didn't even know that Planned Parenthood was a thing. I had never even heard of it. A week later, I ended up having a miscarriage, and it was the most relieved thing that ever has happened to me in my life. I ended up breaking up with that boyfriend because I felt that he hadn't supported me in my decision to have an abortion, and he didn't want to help me do that. So fuck that guy. Many years later, after marriage and kids, I did end up having an abortion. I didn't want to keep growing my family. I was done having kids, and birth control had failed me. That happens sometimes, and to me, it's actually happened twice. At the time, I lived in New York City. I had very easy access to an abortion. I made an appointment, I went straight to the clinic, a few days later, took some pills, and it was great. I hope that that abortion access in Idaho will be that easy for people here someday. Politicians and their wives, daughters, mistresses, and other women in their lives will always have access to abortions. They have the means to send a person on a plane, to book hotel rooms, and to book an abortion with any provider anywhere in the world if they need to. That is unfair. This is a war on all womb-having people, but it is more heavy on the poor and disproportionately affects the Black, Brown, Indigenous, people of color, and the LGBTQ communities. Criminalizing abortion has the sole purpose of keeping people trapped in poverty for generations. And fuck that. In Idaho, abortion will be criminalized in July 24th of this year. Boo! If this was really about children and parents, then why is there not funding for childcare? Right? Then why do we in the U.S. have some of the worst maternity and infant care in the world? Then why do we not have comprehensive sex education? Why do we not have free birth control? Why do we not have months and months of maternity leave when we have a baby? These pro-lifers do not give a shit about children or mothers or families. This has nothing to do with children and parents and everything to do with oppressors continuing to oppress us for their political agendas. Over the past 3 years, I have supported close to 100 people in the community here in Idaho in getting funding through having their abortions that they needed. I did this through my own personal needs, through my social media accounts. I would just ask people straight up, hey, Venmo me money, I'm gonna help a person have an abortion, and people would send me money. Thank you so much to all of the people who have done that and supported me over the years. When Bessie approached me about creating Idaho Abortion Rights, it was an automatic yes, because I was very aware of the high need that we have for people to get access to abortions in Idaho. Idaho Abortion Rights will continue to be a resource for Idahoans to get access to safe abortions and keep you updated on where you can get access and how to get access. We are also a resource on who to vote for in the next elections. So be sure to follow us on Instagram, turn on your notifications, because we will be showing you all of the pro-choice leaders here in the Valley throughout Idaho, so that you can know who exactly to vote for and who wants to protect your right to have a choice. The SCOTUS decision was a major blow to reproductive health, patient safety, and health equity in our country. It's a human rights issue, it's a racial justice issue, it's an economic issue, it's a bodily autonomy issue. There are so many layers to the SCOTUS decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. It's been stressful, it's been grieving, I've been shaking, I've been unable to sleep. I can say that the hope that I do have is that people like you have showed up here today. People like you are standing up today, but being enraged isn't enough. This happened because in the last elections, only 32% of Idahoans voted. That is why we are in this situation. And now we must take action. Be sure to register to vote. Find out what district you are in. This information is on our website, idahoabortionrights.com. Over the next few weeks, myself and Bessie will be posting more information on our website to continue educating you on who to vote for. We must vote the far right out of office. We must vote out these monsters who want to see us die in the streets. Abortion access saves lives. We must expand abortion access in Idaho and fight these local bans on our bodies. I appreciate your continued support. Thank you to everybody who donated to me the last time that we had a march and I was arrested. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you to Bessie for inviting me to be part of this incredible project. Thank you to the whole community who I know will continue to support us. If you want to support people in getting abortion access, feel free to reach out to us. Our email is idahoabortionrights@gmail.com. If you want to volunteer, if you want to support in driving people out of state after the 30-day limit is up, please let us know. We are organizing that, and we want to make sure everybody in Idaho gets access to an abortion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm all hyped up right now. Speaking on the voting thing, as an ACLU employee, I just want to remind y'all that we have a voting rights hotline on those days. So if you incur any issues with voting, you contact us. If your rights are violated, contact us. That's what we're here for. And thank you all who donates for us too. You pay my salary so I can feed my children and yell "bye bitch" to Nazis. I appreciate that. Hey, if I can't punch them, I can at least yell at them, right? Oh wait, I don't know if I was allowed to say that. All right, next up. Oh wait, I want to say one thing. If we aren't loud enough for all y'all in the back, and you're not a Nazi, there's space up here. Come on up. You can come sit. You can hear me even louder. I don't know. See, this is when it pays off. My kids are like, "Mom, you're too loud." Obviously. All right, next up, Christina McNeil. She's the former vice president of the Idaho Community Action Network and former candidate for Congressional District #1 in Idaho. Speaking of voting. I'm not endorsing, I'm just saying. Let me see, I gotta hear you first. I'm just kidding, you got me. She's the Idaho Mary. She fights for social justice and civil rights and is looking like a baddie. Give it up!
Man, I don't know if I can beat that. That is something. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. It's really amazing to see all the support, obviously, and all the women here, but especially the men that support women for this. Give a round of applause to all men that support women. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, I was in pain yesterday. Yesterday was a historical day for the dark pages of the history of the United States. I truly believe that there is no action without reaction. And I can assure you this statement, not because I say so, but because we have seen in history. There are many assumptions on how Latinos feel about abortion. And this goes for everybody that is running and trying to get the vote on the Latinos. A 2007 joint survey by the respected Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life and the Pew Hispanic Center shows that 57 of second-generation U.S. Hispanics are pro-choice. A new survey conducted by Lake Research Partners found that a strong majority of Latino registered voters supported access to legal abortion, affirmed that they would offer support to a close friend or family member who had an abortion, and opposed politicians interfering in personal private decisions about abortion. I don't think a great percentage of Latinos that voted in 2020 for the wrong politicians had an idea of the consequences. And why do I mean this? I'm gonna give you an example. Idaho Republican Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeachin. You got that right. She demanded in May that Republican Governor Brad Little call a special legislative session to eliminate rape and incest as legal exceptions to Idaho abortion law. Shame on them. Repeat it, shame on them. Shame on them. One more time, shame on them. We know that these type of proposals will not only infuriate the Latino community, but any woman that understands the gravity of losing the rights to take decisions over their own body. People escape from other countries looking at the United States of America as a place of freedom of rights. Whether trigger laws, the politicians in Idaho and or the country decided to implement, besides already losing the right to choose over their own bodies, will affect in so many different ways. Fuck trigger laws! You got that right. You got that right. Repeat it. Fuck trigger laws. One more time. Fuck trigger laws. One more time. I didn't hear it. Fuck trigger laws. Got that right. Latinos are the second fastest growing racial ethnic group in Idaho and the country. And they are diverse in many regards. As a whole, Latinos suffer from poorer health in many measures. At the same time, they are less likely to have access to high quality care. Improving Latino health will require concerned policy intervention on both fronts. And I don't believe Idaho has the infrastructure and the budget to welcome the thousands of children that were not planned. Not to mention that in the last session, legislator Steve Birch shared in his monthly statement how the majority political party wanted to reduce spending, didn't want to take any federal money, and the reality that there is legislators that would like to defund the government to the point that it can function. Shame on them. there are already people struggling to raise their children. What kind of education are we going to provide to this new unplanned generation? The Latino community is already marginalized. Schools in Idaho already have cut their budget on education. Housing is a huge issue in the Latino community as a whole. Now we can imagine for a Latino community trying to survive with a very low income, paying their main need, food and roof, buying a property is turning from being a dream into a nightmare. That goes for everybody. We are already in a budget deficit. How they're planning to provide the clinical and welfare that those children, that those new children are going to need. How? They won't. They don't have it. They never thought about it. They don't care. Marginalized groups like the Latino community don't have the access right now. For those that carry this unwanted, unneeded agenda of reversing Roe versus Wade for a long time, I got something to say. The street has two ways. Repeat it with me. The street has two ways. The street has two ways. The street has two ways. And this is exactly what we're gonna do. Latinos tend to be highly group-oriented. A strong emphasis is placed on family as a major source of one's identity and protection against the hardship of life. And I think that goes for all the families in particular. This sense of family belonging is intense and limited to family and close friends. I know that the Latino community will fight back. And even though church leaders took a position against pro-choice, and politicians utilize this principle as a way to forfeit their agenda, once you lose the trust of the Latino community, the community itself, you will lose it for good. And for those that didn't think or they thought that they got the Latino community, let me tell you something. Most of the Latinos comes from countries where church and state are separate. 74% Latinos support a women's right to make decisions. Yes. 73 Latinos don't think we should judge other women's decisions. Yes. 67 Latinos are supportive of close friends and family members choosing abortion. Yes. 43% say they would provide a lot of support. Yes. 61% of Latinos don't think money should determine access to abortion. Not that they have it now, although they will have to travel large distance when they don't have means. Last but not least, 68% Latinos are willing to disagree with church leaders. Latinos are still nearly 3 times more likely to be uninsured than non-Hispanic. 1 in 4 Latinos have no health care. I'm afraid that Republicans and all the religious institutions and organizations that support the overturned Roe didn't think about the consequences.
Shame on them!
Shame on them! Shame on them! Shame on them! A conservative state that already limits access to health care. Shame on them! Strict abortion laws often have limited access to health care and lack of choices for effective birth control. Schools have often have ineffective and inadequate sex education. Shame on them!
Shame on them!
Would likely have the hardest time traveling to distant parts of the country to terminate pregnancies or raising children they might struggle to afford. Shame on them!
Shame on them!
We're talking about a group who are already marginalized. We're talking about women that are already marginalized. Mike Onodakis from Ohio Right to Live, stated in an interview in NPR News last night that if women don't receive help, they can always choose to adoption. Really? I don't believe we give birth to give the kids away. Having children is a responsibility that women won't have to face. I don't play the responsibility. I don't want the responsibility. It won't be the state responsibility. It will be our own responsibility. Here's the consequences. 22 states are not willing to give new babies and their families the education, the medical, and final support they need to lead a healthy life. That could leave tens of thousands of future children unnecessary disadvantage and living in poverty. Shame on them! Families will be adding a new child in states that have made it harder for them to afford food and housing. More children could end up living in poverty. Their household is struggling to pay for bare necessities. Shame on them!
Shame on them!
Research suggests their parents will be less likely to purchase items that help with children development, and they might struggle to hit early milestones compared to their peers in the states. I have a solution. You want to hear it? Yeah! Vote! Say it again, vote! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Now and forever. Vote for the right people that will protect rights. That will use ulterior reasons to stay in power. Vote them out! That won't entertain superfluous bills that don't improve your life and the life of your family and support education. Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Thank you, guys!
Hey everyone! My name is Misty Deli Carpini Tolman. I'm the Idaho State Director for Planned Parenthood Alliance Advocates. I wasn't going to talk tonight, and we have an amazing speaker and performer to close us out, but I had to take a quick second to acknowledge this moment with you. I want you to know that we know that yesterday was devastating. I want to hold space for that and for what we're all collectively feeling. And at the same time, I want you to know that we've been expecting this, we've been preparing for this, and Planned Parenthood is ready for this. We have been sinking some resources into our patient navigator teams so that we can stand hand in hand with you every step of the way so that you understand what this decision means for your care, how you can get care, where you can get care, and we can hold your hand every step of the way, connect you with the resources that you need, get you where you need to be to get the care that you need, and back home in your communities. So if you need help, please call us. You can use abortionfinder.org, or you can call 1-800-230-PLAN. That's 1-800-230-PLAN, and we are there to help you. Listen, we didn't choose to be the generation that had to see the overturning of Roe v. Wade. That was not our choice, but we get to choose how we show up now. And we can build something better than Roe. We can build something more accessible, more inclusive. We can build something where everybody gets to make the decisions about their own bodies, for their own lives, and their own futures. Damn, I gotta follow that.
Just kidding. Everyone's amazing. How are y'all doing? How you feeling? I wanna. Yeah, I'm fucking pissed too. Hell fucking yeah. I came out for this. I'm online. That's where you'll find me. Yeah. Get online. You're all there. Oh, okay. If anyone is having trouble standing or is dehydrated or needs to sit and can't, will we all make space for them? Bring them here in the shade? Yeah, we got each other. We got one more speaker, y'all. I don't even know where my paper went. Thank you. I'm so prepared. Just kidding. Before I give it up for our last speaker, I am going to say that, what was I going to say? Ooh. Hold on, ADHD and autism both together, brains going everywhere. Shout out disabled folks! Planned Parenthood does more than abortions. Planned Parenthood is healthcare. All of us trans, non-binary, and gender fluid folks need Planned Parenthood. Yeah. I love you, Misty. Like, so much. Misty is the shit. Everyone here is amazing. So glad I got to meet you all today. Thanks for getting me out of my house. Yeah, I went to a Planned Parenthood. I got birth control. I was 18 and terrified. Raised by no parents, and I was like, thank you. You're saving my life. All right, last but not least, I hope you all are ready. We have Lita Harris Neustadler. Lita's a racial justice activist and licensed clinical social worker for over 20 years. Also has a really, really good IG, just vibes all the time. Lita works in the mental health field and is focused on interpersonal development, saving people. I got you. Lita's a beloved community member, yes, and we are so thankful she's part of our community. Everyone, give it up for Lita!
Thank you. All right, I'm going to stay on my script because anybody who knows me knows if I go off script, things gonna happen.
Shit that need to happen.
Get back!
You're talking to a black woman. I know anger. Okay, so people are fired up. I get it. We are all angry. Yes, we are righteously angry. What I want to talk about today is how we can channel that fire that we feel so that we don't burn ourselves out or cause harm to the people around us. We want to show up as our full, authentic selves. We do not want to show up just as the raw, triggered parts of ourselves. This is going to be a marathon, y'all. We need everyone on board, but we need everybody on board in a way that is sustainable. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, as y'all know, black and brown people are going to be disproportionately impacted by this ruling. And as hopefully you do know, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. Black and brown people have also historically been burned by white outrage. There is a reason there's not a bunch of us in this space right now. Yeah, it's okay. You don't need to clap for that. It's not. This is an area where we need work, right? It's easy to cheer about inclusivity, but if we're really doing the work, we will see the people in the spaces. Inclusivity includes people who are dealing with pregnancies who do not identify as female. We gotta watch our wording. We got a lot of people who are struggling in this issue and they need help and they need to feel safe, and all the wording they see is talking about women and they don't see themselves in that. And so as we move forward together, we need to make sure we are thinking of everybody collectively and when we show up in these spaces. All right, so one of the ways that we can protect each other is to make sure that we are right with ourselves. We can cause more harm than good when we leap into a fight without knowing our actual capacity, without knowing our purpose, when we are running on pure urgency and rage.
We take on things that we can't sustain. We squeeze too tight on things that actually need to be able to evolve. We laser beam too much of our energy on people who are already fragile and vulnerable. We let our triggered trauma leak out onto the people around us. In order to really protect each other and move forward with each other's physical, emotional, and spirituality intact, we need to do the internal work ourselves. So I got a plan. I got some ideas. So for many years I've been doing trainings with this Buddhist monk named Norma Wong. Yes. And one of my first aha moments with her was doing a transformational leadership training, and it was right after Trump was elected into office. So I was feeling all kinds of feelings. I had rage for days. She gave us these cards, and the cards had 5 roles that people could play in a movement. And she was talking about how all 5 of these roles are essential in a movement. They have different names depending on what you're using. She didn't invent this. These were just the ones she was showing. So you might have heard of these in different names. The ones she used were a strategist, a warrior, a farmer, a gatherer or fisher, a teacher or elder. So I'm going to describe these, and I want you to think of what do you resonate with right now. It might evolve over time, but right now, what of these resonates with you on how you could show up in these spaces right now? Are you a strategist, a navigator who holds the vision, the broad vision of the purpose, so that various independent decisions that get made don't take the group off course? Are you a warrior? With outward action, posting, recruiting, out on the streets, at the protests? Are you a farmer? One who cultivates. That could be cultivating relationships, partnerships, building trust. Somebody who knows what's needed to create a sustained environment, which sometimes might include doing some weeding. It sometimes might include periods of rest. Are you a gatherer or a fisher? A person who knows where to go to get the things, and they can find the things, and they can collect the resources, and they like magically show up and they had the thing because they knew the person who had the thing. Are you a teacher or an elder? Are you somebody who has wisdom from lived experience? Maybe you've been these roles before. Maybe you've lived through generations of this kind of pattern. You see things that the people who are experiencing it for the first time don't see. When I first heard this information, I was a warrior. I was pissed off. I wanted to burn it all down, fuck it all. And I thought everybody around me should be a warrior, and anybody who wasn't willing to show up with warrior energy, fuck them. I thought they were worthless. I thought they were betrayal, unfriend, delete, all the things, right? And so it hit me really hard when I discovered this information and realized that not everybody can be a warrior. Not everybody needs to be a warrior, and a movement can't sustain itself if every single person is a warrior. That kind of energy can't sustain a movement. And so it's important that we value each other and value what we bring to the table. No one of those roles is more important than the other. If somebody can go face off and have a big open discussion and be that warrior, and great, they are not more important than somebody who's behind the scenes cultivating a partnership and working out a relationship, right? So we need to be able to see within ourselves, what do I have capacity for? Where can I show up as my most authentic self? Not trying to pretend to be something that really I'm not, because if you do that, you're not going to sustain it, and you're going to let people down. People are going to be counting on you, and you're going to stop showing up because you weren't showing up as your authentic self in the first place. So I'm going to sing y'all a song. At first I was feeling a little bit bad because I'm like, everybody's all fired up, but my song's kind of slow. But it's okay, because honestly, some people need to feel some feels. Some people need to grieve. Some people need to breathe. What I would really love, I'm not trying to be somebody who is responsible for like the next spike of COVID. So I'm not gonna tell y'all to go shake a bunch of hands and talk in a bunch of people's faces. But I am practicing maybe being a little bit of a farmer myself. I'm cultivating. I wanna cultivate some connections within this group so that you don't just come and feel and yell and then disperse, but that you actually look at each other and recognize the humanity in one another and people that you don't know, that you didn't come here with. I know it's bright and sunglasses and whatnot, but as I sing this song, what I would love is to see you all making eye contact with each other. Now, I'm not saying start conversation, because I'm gonna be singing a song and I don't need y'all talking while I'm singing a song. So trying to be clear about that. I'm not saying go start have conversation. I'm just saying look at each other, connect with each other. Y'all wanna say you're gonna take each other camping? Well, you need to make some eye contact first. Build some trust, okay? Are you ready? This song is by Rhiannon Giddens. She deserves so much more than that. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So remember your assignment. Connect. Find somebody you didn't previously know and look at them. And whatever. When shadows fall and blue skies all turn to gray, I'll light the way. When night rolls in and you need a friend who'd wait for days, I'll always stay. Right by your side, no need to hide from me. Through thick and thin, there and back again, you'll see you can count on me. I know this is how we all feel. Yesterday, burn away like they used to do. I'll walk through them too. Are you looking at each other or just staring at me? When the echoes pound, drown out the sound of love so true. I'll whisper to you. Right by your side, no need to hide from me. Oh, through thick and thin, there and back again, you'll see you can count on me. When drawdawn's near, I'll calm the fear that holds you tight in the dark of night. When the morning comes, we'll let the sun shine so bright. We'll walk in the light. If you think you know it, sing with me. Right by your side, nothing to hide from me. Oh, through thick and thin, through shadows when you'll see Thank you.
I have no idea what's going down out there, but that was the most amazing. Lita. I've told y'all, I don't give promises without delivering. All right, we got a lot of feelings. Some of you are warriors. Some of us are warriors tonight only. I'm a farmer about 24/7. Yeah, so the march. We got something to tell y'all about the march, but right before, real quick, I just want to say, I am an anarchist. I don't belong to a political party. I vote nonpartisan, but I still vote. Even though these are native lands, I still vote because no one gets to tell me what to do, motherfucker. All right, I'm out. My name is Les Hutchinson Campos. Y'all, thank you. Boise, Idaho. Bands off all bodies.
Okay, guys, we have to give it up for Les